This is a 16-year-old J97 Carhartt Detroit jacket, probably the most famous Carhartt Detroit jacket of all time. I bought mine dead stock. The tags were still on it. It says brand new, as a 16-year-old piece can be brand new. And this old Betty is a Carhartt 6BLJ. It is 30 to 40 years old and made in America. This Carhartt, which is considered the gold standard of Carhartt production, has something in common with this Carhartt, which is a modern Carhartt, which does not get the same love at all. There are around 21 differences between the J97 and the modern Carhartt. Some I actually think are very good, welcome changes. Others I don't. I'm going to be running a scorecard throughout this video so you know who's winning as I compare everything. That way, with that scoreboard, we can try and deduce, did Carhartt quality go down? And if it did go down, by how much did it go down? And I found out through research and development on this video, that's not the real question we should be asking. The real question is, which Carhartt specifically went down in quality or changed? Shouldn't say went down in quality, because we'll get to that in a second. We have a very packed video. Here is today's agenda. First thing we're gonna do is just go over the very easy stuff. There's a massive fit change between this jacket and the modern jacket. There's also a bunch of very obvious things that Carhartt removed and also added that we'll go over in this first part too. Wow. It is gonna start downpouring any second. Then we get to the drama of this video, part number 2. I will tell you every single difference between the J97 and modern day Carhartt, and I will rank them on what's good or what's bad. Part 3 of this video, I would like to call the grand finale. I had an assumption about how Carhartt worked, and after doing a lot of research for this video, I realized I was totally wrong, and that Carhartt has essentially two secret flagship, or they're not secret, but two flagship products that are the same quality that you know and love from Carhartt. This sleeve is 2.5 inches longer than this sleeve. Because of this drop tail hem, the body is 3 inches longer than this body. The bicep is 1 inch narrower, and the chest is also 1 inch narrower. According to this Carl Morawski video, who you should definitely check out, Carl is great, hi Carl. The reason that Carhartt lengthened their jacket was simply because most people were buying the tall version anyways, which is a very big reoccurring theme. Put a pin in, most people were doing anyways. Also, among other things, the tail of the jacket prevented people seeing your butt or wind going up your back or something like that. So these are functional changes for sure. The initial ranking and scorecard will be as objective as possible, aka just because the new jacket is longer, I won't give a point to the old jacket because you may like that it's longer. This first scoring will only be awarding points to jackets when there is something markedly better about the jacket. And then of course, after all that crap, I'll be super subjective and tell you why I think this Carhartt destroys that Carhartt. Number 1, the J97 does not have snaps for a removable hood, when the modern Carhartt does. +1 for modern Carhartt. Number 2, I would give a point here because Carhartt added elbow gussets, which gives you more freedom of movement when you're moving your arm, but the reason they had to add those is because they slimmed the sleeves by 1 inch, impartial, so no plus or minus. Number 3, on the Detroit jacket, we are no longer, at least on the black one, we are no longer using brass hardware. Zippers, contrary to popular belief, these are both YKK5 zippers. Nothing really changed, the teeth are about the same size, the only thing is the brass that I talked about before. Points go to neither. Waist adjusters, the J97 has them, the modern jacket does not. And that is the end of part 1, the easy part. Modern jacket +1, J97 0. Thank you, Poison, for sponsoring this video.
You can use my code YT01 or YT02 to get up to $20 off your first order.
This is a Zenith Chronomaster Revival Shadow, and these are burnt orange Adidas Gazelles. You can get cooler versions of these on Poison's website. Along with luxury watches, bags, any piece of apparel you can possibly imagine, it's all on Poison.
You see, Poison is an online marketplace with intensive authentication and legitimacy checks for sneakers, watches, bags, you name it. Poison makes sure it's legit and not a faker.
I've worked in the luxury wristwatch world since I was a sophomore in college, and let me tell you, there's a lot of fakers out there!
But I can spot them, I can see them, I can sniff them, I know what to look for, I know the logos, I know the movements, but in terms of shoes, I know nothing. You could scribble Travis on the side of some white Converse and I would think those are Travis Scott Nike collaboration shoes.
Hey, I thought And One and Air Jordans were the same brand for the better part of 10 years.
That's where Poison comes in and saves the day.
Poison does a legit check on 350 plus brands and over 100,000 items, and it's all free. If you'd like to do a legit check, Poison made it quite easy. It's 2 steps and can be done in 3 minutes. Select your brand, upload photos, and then boom, you get the results.
They're currently offering a free legit check for all sneakers, so you can check out the link in my description. And like I said before, they sell bags, shoes, watches, whatever it may be, so you can use my code and get up to $20 off your first order. Thank you, Poison. Goodbye. Welcome to part 2. the dramatic section. There are some things that I should say about Carhartt that are very good and you need to know before we get into the nitty-gritty. The first thing is that Carhartt has a repair program, and from what I can tell online, for the most part, it's free. If it's not any crazy major damage, you send your jacket in, they give you a label, they send it back fixed. I don't think there's any single way Carhartt is making money from this. I think they are actively losing money by doing this, but it's part of their brand image. And I'm pretty sure to be doing this, Carhartt needs to be of the mindset of, we would rather overbuild our clothes so you never have to send them back in, rather than us build bad clothes that you keep having to send in, because then we'll keep losing money with these clothes that are ripping and getting torn apart. And with that, it's very important to note that Carhartt's entire brand rests on durability, and they do extensive durability testing far beyond what I could do. Snail is working with this really cool scientist guy that's testing a lot of materials for us. Carhartt is testing their products to make sure that they still live up to a certain standard. I have no doubt about that. I know many people are skeptical of that, and that's not to say that Carhartt quality and durability didn't go down, because I'll talk about it in a second. The real thing is, there is a line that Carhartt will not cross of things becoming unreliable or not durable, because that is their entire brand, and they will be overtaken by many, many other work brands that will continue to make tough stuff. And maybe that is what will happen eventually, but I really, really doubt it. And finally, another big point, there's also Carhartt WIP, work in progress, WIP, whatever you want to call it. Not the same company as mainline Carhartt. It is a licensing deal with a European company who uses the styles and logos of Carhartt, but still, Carhartt has a fashion division, because I believe they get a percentage of Carhartt WIP's profits, so they're still making money there, and they don't need to go the fashion route 100% in order to still be cashing in on that. With that said, who the heck knows? Starting with my biggest grievances with this thing is the pockets. Just kidding, it's not gonna be that brutal, but still. The good thing about the modern Carhartt jacket is that it has 2 interior pockets, double the amount of pockets, same jacket, unbelievable. Interestingly, however, and this may be another 0 point actually, now that I think about it, Carhartt changed the construction of their pockets. Instead of having a lining in the pocket that catches the object, Carhartt instead essentially sewed a square down this time into the lining so nothing falls past that square, instead of having a little bag catch it. Which is great, but interestingly, there is no reinforcement on the inside of these pockets. It goes straight to this striped lining, which is meant to keep you warm. I'm sure it's very strong, I'm sure it's very durable, you'll probably never have an issue with it, but if there is a hole in that lining developed from what you're putting in your pockets, it will fall into the jacket because there is no secondary lining. Now the biggest change, this is very interesting, watch this. This is the hand warmer pocket for the J97. See how I can pull it out? Cool, right? Modern day Carhartt, I stick my hand in, I can't pull the pocket out because it's sewn into the bottom seam. You don't have to worry about the lining of your pocket ripping anymore, because if it does rip, it will just hit the bottom of the seam, which is the jacket, which is 2 pieces of 12-ounce canvas sewn together, which is an even stronger pocket, like an impossibly strong pocket. Brilliant. This cuff on the J97 is iconic Carhartt. This is Carhartt 101. It kind of gives you a natural gusset when the cuff is closed to protect you a little bit more, but the new Carhartt cuff gives you an actual gusset. That's +1 for modern. Also, this jacket has a storm placket, which I hope you can see. There's an extra layer of canvas there to protect you from getting hit by the elements. +1 for modern Carhartt. On the back arm gusset of the modern Carhartts, there's a much more precise edge stitch than the other 2 vintage Carhartts that I'm talking about today. Functionally, that doesn't really change it. The stitching on the modern is neater, however, like throughout the entire jacket. So I will give another +1 for modern in terms of stitching quality. One of the biggest complaints about modern day Carhartt is this lining, which funny enough, that's why we have to talk about this old made in USA Carhartt in a second. A lot of people say it just sags. After you wash it, it like sags even beyond the jacket. And I think the reasoning for that is just the way that they construct things now. So you can see when I lift the lining up, it's very loose. It's not sewn into the jacket. It's sewn together here, obviously with this seam, but that's not in the jacket. It's only sewn into the jacket on the edges and on the bottom. If you look at the J97, this is all sewn together. So you can see the triple stitch on the outside. The major benefit is you can't lift the lining as much before you hit something that's sewn into the jacket, so it doesn't sag as much, it doesn't feel as loose, it feels much tighter. +1 for the J97. This lining on the left is a polyester and acrylic blend. This lining on the J97 is 100% polyester, but this is some very thick, coarse polyester. The immediate benefit of this super scratchy polyester lining is that it's dramatically tougher. I filed both of them for I think a minute or 2 minutes, whatever it may be. You can clearly see I got a much bigger chunk out of this acrylic blend because the coarse fibers are just generally tougher than this acrylic polyester blend. Well, Carhartt makes up for that by making this lining thicker than this lining, so there's more stuff to chew through, and I'm guessing it would also be a little bit warmer because of the thickness. Originally, I was like, well, Carhartt was giving a softer lining to people because they were probably complaining that it was too scratchy, so the new one uses this new softer lining. But that's not true, because this 30 to 40-year-old jacket that I'm wearing right now has the same blend as this modern jacket, so it seems like Carhartt was just going back and forth, figuring out which one they were going to go with. They went with the less scratchy one. But with that, I like the added durability. This will look more presentable and better longer. Maybe not forever, but I'll give +1 to old Carhartt. And finally, now presenting the most important part of this entire video. Carhartt is famous for their duck canvas. This uses duck canvas and this uses duck canvas. They're both 12 ounces. They're both 100% cotton, but they're not the same. They are definitely not the same. The weave feels finer, it's not as stiff. There's a whole bunch of different things. I asked Taylor what the difference was with her eyes closed. She said the J97 was clearly thicker and more robust. I don't have a direct connection to Carhartt. However, Carl Morawski, I believe, has talked to Carhartt multiple times, and on this video where he's dissecting new Carhartt jeans, they say the jean fabric, I think, went from 13 ounces to 12 ounces, but it's just as strong. Very important information. I'm assuming Carhartt would say the exact same thing about this duck canvas and this duck canvas. What's frustrating for me is that Carhartt doesn't say why, because they could be using a longer cotton fiber. They could be spinning the fibers differently. They could be doing the plain weave differently. I don't know, because Carhartt gives you zero information besides this. Carhartt now has their firm duck and their regular duck. Their firm duck they describe as 12-ounce heavyweight firm hand 100% ring spun cotton. Their regular duck they describe as 12-ounce 100% ring spun cotton duck. And that's what I realized, the secret menu thing that we'll get to in a second. There are definite ways to make two weaves that are made out of the same material and the same weight feel stiffer and rougher, and one could be stronger, but it may not be the heavy one. So it's tough to say with 100% certainty that duck is not as strong as firm duck, but to be honest, if I had to bet my money on something, I would bet my money on firm duck being stronger than duck. +1 for the J97 boys. 5 points for new Carhartt, 3 for old. But with that being said, the outer material changing can't be worth just 1 point. That doesn't make sense. It's the most important part of this jacket. It needs to be worth more. It needs to be worth like 2 or something like that. So I will give a weighted result, my opinion thing, at the end. The big fat mistake I made was thinking that since the Carhartt Detroit jacket is one of their most historical pieces, or one of the most famous pieces, that it would be their biggest seller, the most important piece. And that's not true at all. It's the Active Jack. Look up the Active Jack on Carhartt's website. Firm duck, made in USA, brass hardware. Nothing really seemed to change that much because it is their flagship product. And I think Carhartt essentially tiers everything depending on how important it is to their catalog, how much it's selling. Pretend these aren't just Detroit jackets, pretend they're two different Carhartt products. Carhartt can only pick certain things to be made in America because they don't have a lot of manufacturing capacity, because the only way they can afford to make things in America is if they do it via their own factories where they have to train people and get people used to sewing Carhartts and all of that. Otherwise, if they go third party in the US, the manufacturing price is probably at least double, which would then make this jacket go up, and they have a target price that they want to stay below, so then they have to be pushed to overseas. But the things that they do keep in the US are their flagships. So it looks like you kind of have 3 tiers of Carhartt in their catalog. Number 1 is their made in USA Active Jack and double knee pants. I think that's it. And even then, they say it could be imported. Then you go to tier 2, where there still is firm duck being used, but it's imported, it's not made in the USA. Then you go to tier 3, where it doesn't look like there is any firm duck, and it's all imported. And maybe that's Carhartt trying to save price on firm duck, but I doubt it. In reality, I think what's happening, Carhartt is very hesitant and does not want to change their flagship products. They don't want people that have been buying bibs and Active Jacks for years, or the double knee pants, to all of a sudden be like, what the heck is going on? With their non-flagship pieces, Carhartt can move around a little bit more and not worry about upsetting their core customer fan base. And maybe the new Carhartt is cheaper. It probably is, if I'm being 100% honest. But the bigger money makers from Carhartt, they don't want to change. And this point is kind of proven if we look at Carhartt tier 4, 5, and 6. There's a certain point where it seems like Carhartt's like, all right, just slap a logo on whatever piece someone else made and throw it out the door. And they don't care about quality. It doesn't matter because it's a Carhartt accessory to a point. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying I think that's what Carhartt is doing. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I think that's what's going on. Carhartt obviously has a review section, and the top complaint about the new Detroit jacket using duck is that it's too flimsy. The top complaint on the Active Jack using firm duck is that it's too stiff. The other very popular complaints about the Detroit jacket are as such. 1, the jacket is too long. 2, the jacket is too short. 3, the lining is too soft and weak. And 4, the lining is too itchy. So they just have to do what is most popular. And there's 600 and something positive reviews for the Detroit jacket and 100 or something negative. 6-1, so I guess they did the right thing. So the actual weighted ranking, I'm still not gonna change things for fit and stuff, but all in all, I would probably give the J97 9, modern day Carhartt 5. I think changing the outer material from firm duck, I just don't think Carhartt should do that. It seems very silly to me to modify that. Yes, it's stiff, but it's Carhartt, it's a workwear brand. Get whip if you want something softer, but go with the heavy thing. There is a very deep feeling in Carhartt, which is like you have to break in your Carhartt gear. The brass is gonna look cooler over time. The jacket will fade, all this stuff will happen, but you have to break it in. It's tough, it's hard to work with, but that's Carhartt. You have a physical job, it will get soft over time and show you how hard you're working. Then your kids who are into fashion will be like, wow, I can't believe you have such a cool jacket. Can I wear that? There's pride in the brand. There's pride about passing things down. There's pride in being like, you wanna wear my work jacket that I do like crap in? Okay. There's so much behind Carhartt that changing this to something like this and making it softer or less robust or longer, whatever it may be, has a ton of weight behind it, because this is so much more than just a slash pocket double welted jacket that people are wearing. It's an American icon, so there's just a lot more behind it than normal. So anyways, yeah, I think the J97 is a little cooler.